watching Overdrive. Now, the BMW 3 Series Gran Limousine has gone on to become one of the top sellers in its segment, and that's also because amongst its rivals, this is the only sedan that offers a long wheelbase variant. Now, BMW has decided to give this a new face and also some tech updates. Tuhin will tell you all about it.
Now, with this being a facelift or a life cycle intervention, as BMW likes to call it, most of the changes to the 3 Series are minimal, and they're centered largely, at least on the outside, around the front of the new sedan. So what you see is a slimmer, more condensed sort of LED light cluster. It's got sharper elements, although we like that purer design of the earlier one a bit better, but this is the new look for all BMWs, and that clearly shows with these inverted LDRLs that have become a signature throughout the range. Moving on, you have a slightly reworked grille. It's marginally larger, wider, but a more distinct change are these double sort of ridges that you find there. So it looks a bit more distinctive than before. Expectedly, the side profile remains largely unchanged. You get those same smart 18-inch alloys with their staggered sizes, and the silhouette is quite cohesive for an extended wheelbase car, retaining the typical rear-drive sedan proportions quite convincingly. Some minor changes to the rear round things off, like the new bumper with its more prominently shaped ornamental diffuser. Now, the changes to the inside of the 3 Series facelift, the Gran Limousine, are again minimal but fairly significant. Now, the most immediate one of these is this giant new iDrive 8 touchscreen infotainment system, where you have this really big 14.9-inch touchscreen and this 12.3-inch instrument cluster. And yeah, it shares this layout with the electric i4 now, and that has brought with it some changes to the center console as well. For example, you have these wider vents now with the climate function now in the screen, and these smaller simplified set of buttons here for the audio controls and the volume. And then when you come down here, you notice that the really nice stubby gear lever that you've come to expect in BMW is gone now. You have this sort of rocker dial, which isn't quite that nice to use, but it's the new way, so we'll just have to live with it. Now, as for this instrument cluster, it's got those really sharp, crisp graphics. There's a bit more information now than earlier from the earlier system. And yeah, you do have some level of customization now too, in terms of the way the layouts are. So it's a slight improvement from what was there earlier. Now with this facelift, even the 320LD, you have it in the sportier M Sport trim, and that comes with a few changes that you didn't find in the diesel 3 Series Gran Limousine before this. Most notable of these are these M sort of enhancements. So you get this M steering wheel. It's exactly like what you would expect in a BMW, large, nice to hold. You get this headliner, which is again an M specific sort of enhancement. And then you get this lattice pattern here in the center console, which looks quite nice. It's nice and textured, and it does uplift the cabin, which is otherwise quite plush and luxurious. And this does give it that slight sporty touch. The rest of the cabin remains unchanged, so the materials and finishes are about the best you can find in a car like this. You sit low with the large wheels set at just the right position, and there's still good visibility. Now, the 3 Series Gran Limousine is a big draw because of this rear seat. So you have that added 110 mm of wheelbase, which has added 74 mm to the legroom. So it is the same as before, and to be honest, the experience has remained largely unchanged here with the facelift. The facelifted BMW 3 Series Gran Limousine continues mechanically unchanged with the same powertrain options. So you have the 320LD as seen here with its 2-litre diesel making 190 PS and 400 Nm, as well as the 330Li with its 2-litre petrol with its 258 PS and 400 Nm. Both pair with the ZF 8-speed automatic. Now, as you would expect, the 3 Series in this facelifted form drives nearly identically to the way it used to before. Although a change with this update is that the 320LD now also gets all those M Sport enhancements, which means that this diesel, this 2-litre diesel, actually sounds quite nice now. We've never experienced this version of the 3 Series before, even in Gran Limousine form. And of course, it's always been very silent and refined. But now there's, if you can hear it, there's quite a nice rumble to the engine, quite unlike a diesel. In fact, it's probably one of the better sounding diesels that we've actually heard in a very long time, which is surprising, and it's a really nice touch. It really goes with that whole BMW sports sedan theme. And to add to that, there's for some reason a launch control function It's fun as usual. You put the traction on this traction mode, the sport drive mode. The gearbox is in the S mode. Foot hard on the brake, hard on the accelerator, launch control active. Although how much you'll use it in a day-to-day setting is debatable, but it's there and it's something to brag about, and it really does work well. As for this motor's performance, you have the clean linear wave of diesel torque, which means that in any situation the 320 LD has a good reserve of performance on offer. It also revs quite briskly for a diesel, which is great on a highway cruise. Although if you truly want to unlock the 3 Series' engaging performance, the 330 Li is the better pick. That said, it's hard to argue with an 11 kmpl city and near 15 kmpl highway mileage number. Now the M Sport enhancements seem to have also slightly reworked the ride and handling character of the diesel 3 Series. So the gearbox, in the earlier 3 Series we drove the luxury line one, it seemed a bit less alert to downshifts. It wanted to hold on to a higher gear, which this gearbox, at least in this tune, doesn't do it as often. And of course you always have that S mode, so when you want those really quick, shifts with a real kick in the back, that's always there. But even in the D mode, it's a bit more alert, it's a bit more on the boil, so to speak. And the same can be said of the suspension setup also. It's better balanced, we feel. The facelifted BMW 3 Series Gran Limousine then manages to bridge the fine line in this transitionary phase for the brand. Yes, it's taking on a new look and tech bits that will define BMWs of the future, but that fine symmetry between performance, engagement and comfort that makes any 3 Series so appealing is still fully intact.
It's time to slip into our final commercial break, but on the other side we'll get you a glimpse at the Porsche Cayman 718 GT4 RS.